Welcome to the Generation Elevation podcast, a conscious, connected platform for those who are ready to manifest their dream life. I'm your host, Elise Riley, a former PT, now motivational speaker, igniting empowerment and transformation all across the globe. Here at Generation Elevation, we are committed to bringing you the most inspiring guests who will share their stories, wisdom, and advice to help you progress closer to living a life of your own terms.
Thank you, Elise. I love you, and it's good to have you back in the country to be able to do a collaboration with the Technician podcast and Generation Elevation. Are you going to keep it to that moving forward?
Honestly, Generation Elevation for me is something that is like just in my heart.
It always felt right.
Yeah, it is so right. I channeled that. I was sitting on the couch one day and I was like, oh, damn. That is what I'm going to grow and build, and that's going to be like my thing for my life.
Amazing. So for anyone listening, I really implore you to just keep your ear holes open, your mind open, and your heart open, because this podcast episode today is very much what it was meant to happen. I know, with Lisa and I catching up, and then she mentioned bringing her podcast gear up from Goldie, and I was like, let's just go book a studio. So we're in here and we really want to help you guys learn from our journeys. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we've been through, how we overcame it, and how you can potentially use that within your lives too. Because, you know, the reason we do what we do, and I know this for you, Lisa, this is for me too, everything I do is to help others. You know, I love what I do because I've had to overcome so much myself. And when I hear and get messages of like, oh my God, Trav, this episode or this bit of content and this helped me with this, and that is the best feeling, dude. That outweighs any bit of like money coming into my account and all this other bullshit. It's all beautiful too. I love that stuff. But to get those messages from day one, when I first got one like 2 years ago, that dopamine hit is just different.
That is why the money is going into your bank account, Trav, because your focus is on the feeling of freedom, the feeling of love, the feeling of giving unconditionally, loving unconditionally. And that is why like you're achieving the things that you're achieving and creating that abundance in your life, because you're feeling abundant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
And I'm so proud of you. Like, it's so beautiful to see. And if anyone deserves that kind of success, it's you. Like, I've seen you grow and evolve over the last couple of years. And like I said, I'm so grateful for having you in my life. And yeah, like anyone that has you in their life is so privileged. So yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know if we were going to start the episode with tears, but they're coming. They're coming. And, you know, same to you. And I don't give this just because I feel like I need to. I'll receive that gratefully. But just seeing, I guess not many people know that we're very close. We've been good mates for nearly 3 years now. You look at it. And we've had our, you know, when we do catch up, it's always something sick happens. It's like, holy fuck, look at all the signs. Look at this. You know, it's the almost like this coming together of two very special humans that were supposed to meet each other. Yeah. Because we know what happened in that first experience when we first met.
We know.
For anyone that doesn't know, very long story short, Elise and I met through other friends.
Magic.
Yeah, that too. And it all just like you're like, oh, I'm going to stay on the sunny coast. Hey, nice to meet you, Trav. Met her at Breathwork and Cool to Be Conscious, I think.
Well, I followed my intuition to the sunny coast, and I just knew that I was going to be there for several days. Had no idea where I was staying. And then one stepping stone after the other, I ended up sitting in a room where Trav was in, and I just had this intuitive knowing that I need to talk to this man. And I ended up sitting next to him, and then
our bodies were vibrating.
Like, you literally the next day called up for 3 hours, and I figured out that I can do all these types of spiritual things that I didn't know I could do. And then you unlocked some things that you didn't know that you could do, and then that was it.
Yeah, it's kind of just been an unraveling of that here and there, like different little scenarios, supporting each other through things, catching up. I remember you took me through ECT for the first time at the waterfalls, which was cool. So even just remembering that right now, I think you're more of a catalyst for me doing what I've done than we think.
Really?
100%. Because I always trusted you and what you said. Wow. You know, I think there's a reason why we connected the way we did, but it was this different connection. It was never like something that I had to question. It was just like I always knew for some reason Elise would always be a friend. There was never this feeling of as I change and as I evolve, I'm not going to lose her, because we go through those moments so often now.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess that would be a great segue into seeing what you've done with having just moved to London. You were like, I remember when you told me, I was like, even I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, I'm pretty sure I was like, yeah, epic, go do it. But there was still part of me that was like, holy shit, that brought out an insecurity in me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I appreciate you for saying that.
Yeah, because it was like, wow, she's willing to do whatever she needs to do. And there was part of me that knew I wasn't doing what I had to truly go to where I needed to go to do what I need to do.
Wow. That's making me feel emotional.
What's the emotion based around?
Just like, I fucking did it.
Can you go into what that feels like real quick? What's the emotions and what's the feelings? What's the thoughts? Go way back. What version of you is really proud of you right now?
So much love. Like the version of me that didn't trust. Like people ask me all the time, like, Elise, how do you just go and feel the fear and do it anyway? Because like I was saying to Trav that there's so many examples of where I just do these things that most people wouldn't do. Like for New Year's, guys, I went to a festival by myself sober, and never in a million years I thought I'd ever go and do something like that by myself. And yeah, I was a little bit nervous and I was feeling a little bit shaky when I got there, but I had the bestest time once I settled in. And it's just kind of over time, I have put myself in these uncomfortable zone positions where I've just let my nervous system integrate that new energy and that capacity to be in that space. And over time, I've just grown my zone to be so big that these leaps of faith don't take forever to decide on, and I just go and do it. And I don't think we did a podcast on this because we haven't spoken about it. However, I spoke about this on my show about I literally sat in meditation one day. I do every day, but this day in particular, what come through is you need to move to London on the 25th of May. And it was the start of May. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Am I crazy? And the part of me that gets emotional, Trav, when you say this and just when I say I did it, is I remember walking after receiving that message in meditation and asking like the people that I loved around me, like, am I crazy? Like moving to a country that I never thought I'd even travel to in 30 days? Like, what am I doing? And I was also, like, I had people just say, you know, you've got this. Like my close friends, family, like, what have you got to lose? I was like, really nothing. Like if I go, I'm going to have an amazing experience. And then if it doesn't work out, I'll just come home and that's okay. But if I go and it works out, then like no risk, no magic.
There's a couple, and thank you for sharing that. There's a couple of things in there I'd love to unpack for the listeners is talking about your nervous system being able to handle a decision like that and the capacity to hold that. Can you speak a little bit into that? Because obviously I've learned in my years of doing this podcast now is when I first started, I was a student. I would ask the questions now, and I realized as I got on, I started, because I knew the answer, I stopped asking as if I was a listener. So I'm going to really hone back into that this year and moving forward and be the student again. Because look at Joe Rogan. The dude's the smartest dude in the room every time, but he still asks the questions if he doesn't know.
You are Joe Rogan Trav, but you're a Trav.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I take a lot of inspiration from people like him and Aubrey Marcus and like your Diary of a CEO, Stephen, can't remember his last, Bartlett, I think it is. And they're all amazing people, and I love them for what they're doing, but I truly am one of a kind. I know that now.
Fucking oath you are.
Yeah. So, and not many people can say that without feeling like a bit of a dickhead. You know, I know in the past I would have said that and gone, ooh, really, Trav? Now it's like, nah, I'm Trav. I'm the technician. Like there's a reason.
There's only one Trav. There's only one technique.
I appreciate that. So, you know, knowing that I can do it my way, there's one thing that dropped in through meditation as well. Beautiful. Was that I need to go back to my roots. So I'm going to really ask those student type questions today.
Cool.
And just so for anyone listening can really learn, because that's why I started. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is why I'm a coach. Because I started a fucking podcast, you know? So yeah, just about that. How did you get your nervous system to that point? What did you have to go through to get to a point where you can make a decision within 30 days to move to another country?
I love this question. Thank you for asking me. I literally just recorded and uploaded a podcast episode called 23 Lessons for 2023. And one of the lessons, I'm going to give you a little hint and a little giveaway. One of them was talking about fear is just an emotion. And I feel like in the past, whenever I experienced fear, I would do everything I possibly could to try and escape that because it feels overwhelming at that point in time. However, it has a lot of energy. When you sit in that emotion and let yourself feel the power that is in that, once your body kind of stops shaking and integrates, you're like, whoa, I've just like totally reached a new level of vibration. And if you think about the Hawkins scale of consciousness, right, we have our contracted emotions at the bottom, and basically what we think about, what we feel, they all have a vibrational frequency. Everything is energy. And I'm sure if you listen to my podcast, if you listen to Trav's podcast, you probably know that. And as you move up the scale vibrationally to an expanded emotional state and vibration, which is where you want to be to manifest, the bridge between contraction and expansion is courage. And so we will always face our greatest fears in life because they are our initiation into the courage and strength that we need to fulfill and live out our soul's destiny and mission.
Damn. Okay. Cut, clip. Amazing answer. And another part of it that I wanted to break down was people hear a lot about meditation. I get a lot of my clients to do it. I know a lot of them are avoidant of it because they don't see the point, a lot of them. Even though I may teach them and show them, there is a point to it. What is it about meditation that truly helps you and why everyone should be doing it?
Okay. So interesting language when you say they avoid it. I define meditation as the act of getting to know yourself. So what is it about knowing yourself that you're avoiding? What are you scared of when you meet you? There's no right or wrong way to meditate. And honestly, for me, like, this is something that I talk to my clients about, and I practice what I preach. I do it every single day. It's almost like you wouldn't use your phone if you didn't plug it in overnight. Like, it would have low battery. I know if I don't meditate in the morning, I can be like irritated. But when I sit in meditation and have that like 10, 20 minutes time for me, I can connect into the vibration of that, what I want to create for my day and for my life. And this is what started my journey, just meditating every single day and kind of closing that loop of the self-trust piece. It started with one small promise to myself, and then over time that developed and grew, and then it was kind of like it gave me the courage to allow these messages to come in. Okay, you should go to do this. You should go do a dance concert. You should go move to Queensland. You should break up with this partner. You should start this training program. You should do this differently. You should start this seminar or whatever. And all these little nudges and ideas, which weren't ideas, they were messages. I then slowly built the courage over time through getting to know myself, building that trust within myself. And then therefore this has kind of led me to where I am today. Like, I would say there's no right or wrong. You just got to start. If you're thinking about doing it and you've been thinking about it a long time, like I said, ideas are no longer ideas, they're messages.
Oh, one thing that pops up is, how do people discern what's a message and what's, because I know a lot of things I get is people go, how do I know if this is just something I've made up or if it's actually something I should listen to? Well, it's like, you should listen to whatever comes up because that's the answer, right? Most of the time.
Yeah, I always say to my clients, and I'm sure you do too, Trav, is first answer is the best answer. And I would say if you're just starting out learning how to trust your intuition or your instincts, don't worry so much about the big decisions that you've got to make right now. Like, if you're listening to this and you're going through something where you're like, I don't know what to decide, and it's like a major life decision, okay, let's just hold that for a second. It's okay to be indecisive about that right now. Let's just start small and build. So for example, like what I would do is I would allocate days in my calendar. I'd be like, okay, this day I'm going to do a yes or no day. And so I'm going to wake up and I'm going to ask my intuition, what should I do today? Boom, first answer. Okay, I'm going to go do that. What should I do right now? Go do that. Should I go left or right? Left. Okay, what should I eat? This. And then just play out my day like this and see what happens. And every single time I did that, I always bump into people that I would knew. There'd be random synchronicities and coincidences and experiences where usually half the time I'll tell you or my family, like, oh, guess what? This just happened. And you guys are like, how did you end up here? Like, what the heck? But it's true. Like, sometimes your heart knows more because it's connected to that higher power, that higher consciousness. And it's important, like we channel through our heart and our head then deciphers.
Beautifully put. Thank you. So something else I want to bring into the podcast this year is listener experience. So we're going to do what you just said. I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Whoever's listening right now, I'm going to ask you a question. The first thing that comes up, that's most likely the answer. What is it you've been avoiding for years now that you're going to do this year? Boom. The answer's there. It was the first thing that popped up. Don't overthink it. It came up, and it always happens. And this is what I do with my shadow work as well. It's like that first little instinct that pops up. It's like, oh, that's it. You know, why do you hate yourself? Oh, why is your self-worth so bad? Oh, you know, all these little things that pop up. Trust that.
And if you find that the first answer is, I don't know, that is a cop-out.
100%.
You do know. And I remember when this was me and I was in your shoes, if this is you, I would say, I don't know, because I would pretend that I didn't know because I was too scared to face me fully.
Oh, so I just had something. Do it to me right now, Lise. Ask that question that's coming through for you to me.
Okay.
I'll answer it honestly as.
What is that one thing you've been putting off that you need to do this year?
There it is. Yeah, losing the weight. I've been avoiding it for a long time. And I've said recently that I was going to train, and I have been. I've been doing it consistently, but I was still self-sabotaging. I was still allowing myself to eat more than I should. I was still allowing myself to, do the things.
May I stretch you, Trav?
Cool.
So the first thing is, if you would ask yourself, like, I absolutely refuse to let go of my weight because I have a deep fear that what would you say?
Would be powerful.
Okay. And what would that mean about you if you were powerful?
I would lose more people.
Like?
Friends.
Yeah. And what would that mean?
I think the more I step into my power, the more I lose, is the belief that I've got instilled right now. When really that's not the case at all.
Cool. One more question. Why are you holding on to that? For what purpose?
Because I'd be perceived as a bad person. Because I've always been Trav, the nice guy, right? So there's still that nice guy in me somewhere.
Oh, and we love him.
Yeah.
And it's also like to empower that nice guy so that he is like integrated fully in his masculine, not coming from that wounded space of like holding on due to the fear of letting go and it not coming back.
Yeah. How will I be judged? How would I be judged if I had everything?
Fuck. Okay. So honestly, like for me, I lost like 10 kilos this year being in London. And honestly, I have a personal training, nutrition background, and my whole life, like I competed and all that kind of stuff and tracked everything. This year, I didn't track at all. You know what I focused on? Being happy and standing in my power and allowing my light to shine and it be seen by others around me. And as soon as I started doing that, it kind of just like let it all go. And I feel amazing.
The weight release, not the weight loss. I think a lot of people focus on, the physical side of it and what we're told on how to actually lose weight when literally our unconscious mind could be holding on to it as a protection aspect.
Oh, yeah. Like our body is a reflection of our subconscious. Yeah. And that is why I shifted from that personal training space to do what I do now.
Okay. So something popped up for me then as you said that. So by me being kind of fat and kind of fit, I'm sitting at the neutral. Shit. Okay.
Breakthroughs. Yeah. Woo. Magic.
Because in the neutral, you're sitting on the fence, so you're not bothering anyone.
And if you don't fully commit, then you can't fully fail.
Exactly. Yeah. If I went all in on my health and actually said, I want to get abs, and I've had them before. This is the thing, right? But it comes, and again, I want everyone to be listening to this because think about how this could be working out for you, because this is all about you, the listener.
We're all mirrors here.
Yeah. We all go through this shit.
Yeah.
We all do. And you might not be right now if you're at a certain place in your life, but think about how you could manifest it into potentially your finances. Finance is a big one. That was a big thing for me because I held back on money, again, because an internal belief was like, if I have the money, I lose my friends and family. Will they judge me because I'm doing better than them? Which that's happened for sure. You know, the more successful I've become financially, I've felt a shift for sure. I don't know if you've experienced that yourself in the past or as you're doing. No. So the question actually now is, it's shifted for me to how you're perceived, because people don't get access to you personally a lot, I feel. So what they're watching online, is there a lot of judgment on you just getting things handed to you?
This is interesting because we kind of like touched on this before, and I love that it's kind of dropped into this space. Like we've just got this big bowl of like soup here and we're just adding little magical potions to it and this formula. I don't know. That's the vision that I get right now as we speak. But yeah, this is a little dash of whatever into our soup. 100%. Like the book Eckhart Tolle writes, A New Earth, he speaks about the ego and the identity of self. So the things that we say, I am this, I am that, like form our identity and our perception of who we are. So as we change and evolve, right, our frequency, our energy will change. You will attract your energy. So your vibe attracts your tribe. And this is why potentially you might have people come and go out of your life because you might be changing. If you're listening to this podcast right now, you're most likely on a growth journey. And it's that saying, people are in your life for a reason, a season, a lifetime. Like some will come with you and some you will have to let go of because it's inconvenient to look up. It is very inconvenient to look up because you're asking people to step on the edge of their comfort zone and feel that fear with you and initiate into their mission. But sometimes like that's a choice that people can make, and it's okay if people don't choose to make that choice with you. For me, what happens is I'm an extremely fast grower. I don't know how I do this, but I just integrate things really quickly, and it can be, I'm not going to say the word hard for lack of a better word. Maybe I'll just say that it can feel like a quantum leap when you hang around me because I'm moving fast. It's like, if you're not keeping up, like I totally understand. It's okay. And it doesn't mean I'm better or worse than you. It's like, I'm just on my path. I'm a soul living a path and you are a soul living your path, and nothing is good or bad or better or worse. It just is. And we are meaning makers as humans. So when we see someone doing the things that we want to do, we can automatically make that mean, oh, they are doing the thing that I want to do, and therefore I'm not good enough because I'm going to get left behind, or I am not doing enough to be like them, or I'm wasting time. How many of us look at other people that have what we want and go, oh, I'm not good enough and I need to be doing more. Right? I'm not worthy. I need to be doing more. I've done that so many times. And the thing is, it's like the people around you that are achieving success or being in the energy that you want to cultivate into your life, literally the more you do this work, the more you'll come across those people, not because you're not good enough or not worthy, but it is because they're reflecting back to you your ability, your magic. And so if you can change the meaning that you make about what is, then you can create that vibration, that energy within your own self, and therefore live the path that is meant for you and your highest timeline. Kind of like what we were doing before. When we were driving here, I was like pointing at all the signs. Like some people, if they weren't used to this, they'd be like, you are cuckoo. But I just get so much joy out of doing that because I'm making a triple synchronistic number mean that I'm on the right path. I'm making a simple message that could be just on a billboard. I'm making that mean something positive to me, which elevates my vibration and gets me in alignment with what I want. You get to make your reality by choosing what is means to you.
I love that. That's perfect. I would wonder, what would you say to anyone that sees this happening in their life? So they've got people in their lives they're watching, level up, do the things, raise their vibration, and they just feel like they're shrinking. What would you say to them?
they're shrinking.
Yeah, rather than hear the call to action, the hero's journey, they feel like they just feel more worthless. They feel like this is too hard. They feel like this is impossible. And they're not getting the same things that you and I get from it. We're not taking, like, I know for me personally, when I see someone like Stephen Bartlett's that's doing really well with Diary of a CEO, one of the number one podcasts in the world, I don't look at that and go, fuck, I'll never get there. I go, I'm going to get there at some point. What about the person that's like, nah, I give up now. It's too hard. Such and such is killing me in this race. Rah, rah, rah. The comparison's kicking in.
Oh my gosh, there's so many things that I want to talk about in this episode, Trav. So let's just...
We got time, dude.
Okay,
Go.
Good. So the first thing... what do I want to talk about first? There's just so many things. The first thing that comes to my mind when you say that specifically, and I know that'll close the other loop that's in my mind later, is this year I got to tour England with one of the ex-cricket captains for the country, and I got to do a lot of work in that professional athlete space. And I was explaining to him some of the challenges that I experienced throughout the year. And he's like, Elise, like, you've got to keep going. When you're playing a cricket season, just because you have one loss doesn't mean you stop playing. Doesn't mean you stop playing, right? Imagine if you won every game the whole season. Yeah, that's great. And it can feel amazing. But imagine if you did that for your whole entire life. Would you still enjoy the game more? Or do you actually appreciate that in the challenge, you get to learn more skills, you get to learn about yourself, and that kind of initiates you into becoming the best player that you can be? Your business, your relationships, your careers, all just a vehicle for helping you become the best version of yourself. And so if you're feeling like you're shrinking right now, where's your focus? Are you focused on the loss itself, or are you focusing on the season and who you become in that season? We spoke earlier, you mentioned about seeing people that are quite successful and then thinking that everything's handed to them. You create your own luck in this world, and it's about your focus. Like, where your focus goes, your energy flows, right? We know this. If you've listened to my show, if you're listening to Trav's show, you should know this by now. And that's okay if you don't, like if you're new to this kind of stuff. But pay attention to where you're directing your thoughts. If you're focusing on the lack of, that will expand. If you're focusing on the fullness, the freedom, the love that is available to us at every single moment in this life, that will be shown to you. And for me, I just have this positive outlook on life where it'll be 6 a.m. in the morning. And I'm like, I'm wonderful and amazing. And people look at me and go, I need some of that. Whatever you're taking, I need that. And it's like, well, actually, it's my focus. Like, how amazing it is to be alive right now. Like, not many people get that privilege and that opportunity. So I'm going to live my life and live the magic of life for them. If I'm not doing it for me, I'm going to do it for them. Okay. And what is so special about luck, and on the way here, I saw a number plate and it said Lady Luck. And I was like, yes, that's me. Is because it's not about luck at all. It's about preparedness meeting opportunity. Every single day, there are opportunities everywhere. Opportunities for love, opportunities for abundance, opportunities for greatness, magic. However, it is your focus and in your choice of how prepared that you want to be able to see that or not. If you're focusing on the lack of and you're feeling like you're shrinking, you're focusing on everything that's going wrong, that's all you will see. If you're focusing on, okay, wow, if that person can do it, then so can I. And if all these people are in my life, then that just means the universe or God or whatever you believe in is showing me or you that this is coming for you too. If you have that feeling, you're going to feel clearer, you're going to feel amazing, you're going to feel happier, more fulfilled, and therefore maybe more present in your moment to be able to see those opportunities when they do arrive.
Well said. Well said.
It was a bit of a tangent story loop, but I think I closed it.
No, that was cool. I feel one thing that popped up during that is making sure that people that might listen to myself and Lise, especially like us as people, for example, we're not sitting here saying that you have to be all like la-di-da all the time. We feel the full human spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
Like I personally go through days where I'm like, fuck this shit. Who cares? Like life sucks. The world's shit. All the things, because if I need to be felt in that, I will allow it to move through me more. But so I don't sit in it, you know, that's the next day. I'm like, so I'm kind of like there's this guy on Instagram I watch. He's a basketball player.
Yeah.
And all he does, he's called Lethal Shooter, and he just hits his crazy shots. And he's always like, shooters don't miss twice. So for me, it's like, have a day of shitness, but don't do it twice in a row. Don't let that next day, don't let yourself sit in that, you know, the wallow. I mean, depending on where you're at, depending on what you're going through. I know I've had a good mate recently gone through a pretty severe breakup, and I wanted to help him understand that, hey, dude, you might need to sit in this for a week or two, and that's okay. But let's not do 3 weeks in a row. Let's fucking go. Let's start to look at the life that, yes, okay, this has happened for a reason, potentially, whatever it might be. So it's knowing that you can definitely be where we're at, where we see the world in a completely different light, where there's opportunity, where there might be failure in others' eyes, or just like, what's the point? Because I'm sure you've been there yourself, Lise, here and there, but then you see the door opens in another space anyway.
Yeah, 100%. And I if you are going through a challenging experience right now, like I hear you, I see you, I feel you, and I understand. I know what it's like. This year for me, as amazing as it has been, Trav, like it was probably one of the most challenging years of my life. I had to step out of my comfort zone several times and be initiated time and time again. So every single time my nervous system was like, oh, I just feel good now. Now you're diving into the nether depths of whatever. But in those moments, it just initiated me into this strength that I never knew that I was capable of or had, and this ability to surrender. We were talking about this before in regards to surrendering to connecting with our spiritual support system, because we do have physical support in our 3-dimensional world and earth, but we also do have higher energetic realm support. And that is what this year initiated me into, because I'm stepping into this identity of being an oracle, a magician, the ability to help people connect to their highest self and that highest frequency. And to be able to do that, you must be able to trust not only yourself, but also the universe or God or whatever it is you believe in, that higher power to help you. If you are here listening to this, I know you have an incredible soul mission. You are here for a reason. You're here to complete that. And I'm so grateful that I get to communicate what I know with you, because whatever you grab from this episode right now between Trav and I, you're going to grab this, run with that, and create something fucking epic. And I'm so excited to hear whatever that is. And at the same time, like, if you're going to do that and you're going to have that influence, that impact, and that could be small scale or big scale, whatever you want to create in your life, you can do. You must also allow in what you want to receive, because there's a quote that slapped me in the face this year, and that was, the presence of fear and anxiety means that you're just relying solely on yourself to do the work. If you have that fear and anxiety, it means you're trying to make it happen, right? If you relied on that extra help from divine intervention or higher power, etc., you would know that what you want is already done, that you can just relax in the knowing of that. If it's in your heart, it's your path. And your role now is to just enjoy the journey. Yeah.
If people want to start connecting to their higher self and raising their vibration, where would they start?
Okay. That is a really good question. Well, I feel like I'm going to just channel something right now. So if
when you say channeling,
yeah,
just a quick little breakdown.
Okay. So when I channel, it is me talking and also connecting to an energetic frequency that is beyond a 3-dimensional realm. Cool. It is like an all-knowing frequency where at least my identity human self does not know all, and there's always more to learn, yes. And this voice is not my own. So I am almost channeling frequencies of a higher vibration into human words that can be felt and understood.
For anyone that may have read Esther Hicks, Abraham. Yeah, that kind of vibe.
Yes. Okay, so the channel that I'm receiving right now, if you are wanting to connect in with your higher self, if you are driving, like maybe not so good to do this right now. So if you are driving, just come back to this part in the episode and do this later. But if you're just chilling, right, and if you have a spare moment, like I would recommend closing your eyes down and placing your left hand on your heart. And I want you to take a deep breath in, deep breath out. That's it. And I want you to ask your heart, what does the highest version of me look like? And trust the first answer. It could be a word, it could be a symbol, it could be an image, it could be a song, a sound. What can you hear, taste, touch, feel? I don't have to know all the answers right now, but just one will do. What does your highest self feel like? First answer. What does your highest self sound like? How do they speak? How do they stand? And what is the mission that you are here to accomplish as you are initiated into your higher self? First answer. You can decide right now to choose to be them. It is an energy that you can easily tap into at any point in time. That highest version of you lives within you. However, it will not come to you. You must go to it. That is all.
Amazing. See how that feels. If you need to do it again, go back, rewind back, and check in with yourself, because the image I saw when you were talking about that
Cool, I want to hear.
was that warrior you just showed me before.
Oh my gosh, full body tingles.
Yeah, that he popped up straight away. So and I was saying to Lisa on the way here, something that I know a lot of my friends really struggle to understand this, which I totally get, and I'm okay with it. In the beginning, I was like, why can't you guys fucking know? I still don't understand it sometimes, but knowing that I'm connecting to my higher self and have been connected, I've fallen off that a little bit with my meditation, my presence, my breath work, but that's what started it all for me. So as I've started to have some rememberings lately at a few events and things like this, and tapping into my higher self and remembering the gifts that I have, like I even said to Lise, and I think I said it on the most recent podcast I had with an American woman. She was incredible. And it was this remembrance of having like healing hands as some sacred shaman dude in a in a village as an Aztec or a Native American, whatever it might have been.
Yeah. And
that image you showed me before was like, yeah, that's similar to what I used to look like. Now, people talk about past lives, or is it like is it just genetics that's been passed down? Was an Aztec at some point? Maybe I was. I know that I've got Mongolian DNA somewhere down the track, because
That's cool.
I've had some real deep connections to that music. And when I see them, I'm like, man, I'm built like these motherfuckers. So it's interesting, because I feel like I'd love to hear for anyone listening right now who you just did that and had something come up. Can you please message myself or Elise and let us know what you saw, what you felt, what came up for you? Because to go deeper on that, the reason being, it's uncovered everything for me. By remembering the gifts that you have, it unlocks so much. For me personally, to know that at some point, the story that Lise told me when we first met was, I was a protector and a guardian. And then that story played out during a breath work that was able to heal a huge part of shame I had in my heart, that I allowed my village to be murdered by a neighboring village because I was away on a hunt and I couldn't protect them. So again, whether that's a past life, whether it's genetics, and it was like my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather that experienced it, I had it in my body still. And this is it. This is like you know, we speak about traumas that it might be generational, might be from birth, from our mothers while we're in the womb, might be from 0 to 7, might be teenage, might be from a fucking partner we were with for 7 years that told us we were a piece of shit. It's all so different. But by me remembering it and actually facing it through breath work, I was able to integrate it. And also what really helped was Shan whispering to my ear saying, we love you, we forgive you, it's okay.
Whoa, I've got massive goosebumps right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Have I not told you or showed you the breathwork experience?
Did.
Yeah.
But I think I just
there's something else.
Yeah, no, I just I'm remembering it now.
Yeah.
As you speak out, I'm like, whoa, this is just a cool story.
And and I know it's very hard for a lot of people to believe, and when they hear it, they're like, oh, what are you on about? And I totally get it. Not everyone's meant to. We're not meant to. Like I still, when I'm with Christy or Elise or anyone that's super tapped in, I still go, what the fuck?
Oh, don't worry. So do I.
You know, like, did I tell you
I do it and so do I.
Did I tell you how Christy took me back to like ancient Egypt when we were just having coffee?
No.
Yo.
Of course she did.
Yeah. So we're talking about, again, listen in closely, guys, because this can be so real I would say for most people. Most people I've taken through breath or ECT or whatever it might be, they've had an experience of a past life. Now, the way it plays out, you're going to hear exactly now why it's so prevalent, why it's important to potentially go back to that stuff. So we were talking about how she just called me out. I love Christy. She's like,
she's
fucking
amazing.
hell, Trav. Like, I'm sick of your shit about this money stuff. What's going on? Where's it coming from? Go back there right now. Calling in all timeline dimensions. Boom, boom, boom. Bang. Put her hand on my chest. I closed down my eyes. And I'm sitting there with Shan, Christelle, myself, and Christy. And we're all just at a coffee shop locally.
Nice.
And I was like, yeah, cool. Take me back, bro. Let's go. And she puts her hand on my chest and I'm straight back to ancient Egypt. And I was some sort of warrior wearing like an Anubis helmet.
Oh my God.
And I'm going out and taking over empires and stuff and leading these armies for our king, the perceived king. And when I get back, he would always be like, you didn't do well enough. Too many people died. You didn't do this. It was always like, you did not do enough. So I'd go back and I was going back to my room where I'd take my helmet off and I'd be crying and screaming saying, why won't he validate me? Why won't he tell me I'm enough? Blah, blah, blah. So that now played out in the past, in my present life of needing validation from my perceived kings. So that might be older men around me or mates that I perceive as better than me. And that was something that was cleared through this moment of clearing this story of when I was a soldier with a fucking Anubis. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my God.
So again, people hear these things. I even hear it when I'm saying it going, Trav, come on, bah. But it's still like it changed for me from that day.
Yeah.
The reality for me was that my need for validation completely shifted.
Yeah.
All I needed was validation from self. You know, and it's such an important story for people to hear because, look, you might not have been an ancient Egyptian god warrior or some sort of thing. That it doesn't have to be that deep. But somewhere, sometime, something was said by someone, and that now plays out in your present life. So wouldn't it be cool to potentially go back there and experience that so you can clear it? You know?
Time doesn't exist, Trav.
Exactly.
So all timelines are all being experienced in the quantum at the same time. In the present moment, because that's all there is. Yeah,
because it's something that if people really started to understand or make sense of that fact, it will open up their lives. I believe because it did for me. We had a night at Master Prac for NLP where a lot of people had existential crises because they had the whole moment of watching like a documentary around the world being a simulation, right? And
okay.
for me sitting there, I'm going, yeah, let's go. This is sick because I'm a gamer. So I go, well, I'm a character.
Yeah.
So the more I learn, the more armor I get, the more weapons I get. I level up through going through challenges, the hero's journey.
Yeah.
I made a really cool thing out of it. But other people are like, well, what's the fucking point? How did you perceive it when you learned about that sort of stuff? When you started to truly see that? And now look, I will preface this real quick because I know people hear this and they go, oh, these fuckwits again, you know, trying to say, get it.
But do they?
It's a good point. Maybe they're opening up.
If you're listening to this still, I love you.
Likewise.
And you're here for a reason.
Yeah. And for me, I used to come from a place of hate and blame for the system. I have so much love for the system. I wouldn't be the man I am without it.
course not.
They saved my life so many times with surgeries
We have
and
all
shit.
chosen to be here at this time-space reality.
Yeah, right? So let's dive a little bit into, though,
Yeah.
you creating your own reality and how anyone else can.
Cool.
What are some things you've done and some things that other people can do once they truly unlock this for themselves?
Okay, that's a huge question and I love it so much.
Just casually drop that shit.
Boom. So my journey started unconsciously. I was unconsciously competent at being a brilliant manifester. Like things that I wanted or wanted to create would just kind of pop into my experience. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm just good at most things. But it's because I genuinely loved the journey and the process of it. I wasn't really attached to the outcome majority of the time. And if I was, it probably wouldn't happen or it'd be a slower timeline. I just kind of have this great imagination where I would visualize what I want and it would come into my space. And the first key piece when it comes to manifestation is contrast. Because when you go through challenges in life or you see things that you don't want, automatically on the opposite end of the scale, what is created is what you do want. So as soon as you have in your mind what you do want, and if you say, I don't know what I want, the affirmation is, I want to know what I want. And then you start experiencing things all the time of what you want. So that's brilliant. And you get to choose. It's kind of like I always do this. Whenever I meet people, I focus on the aspects of them that I really love. And in that focusing, it's almost like me making a statement or vibrationally, that I want more of that. Show me more of that. And yeah, I guess Abraham always talks about the first step is contrast. Second step is as soon as you think of what you want, it's automatically created. When you ask, it is given. And you might be like, well, how come my Lamborghini isn't in the driveway? And why am I still struggling to pay my rent if what I want isn't here right now? And it's because you're not allowing that. And that's okay. Don't feel triggered, because this is part of your journey and your initiation into allowing that thing. So this is where all of that personal development work comes in handy, those breakthroughs, those messages. And it's all about allowing yourself to be living life unconditionally, whereby you do not have to rely on a reason to make you happy. Because tomorrow that reason could be taken away from you. You are happy regardless. You feel good regardless. And you might be listening to this and be like, this chick's trying to trick me into being happy all the time. But is that so bad?
How horrible would that be?
Is that so bad? When we blame, complain, justify, one, it's a low vibration. So you're never going to manifest from that place or space. And at the same time, you give away your power by being at effect of the weather, by being at effect of Sally at work or your breakup or etc. Take back your power. What you focus on expands. If it's in your heart, it's your path to walk and it's already done and created. Your role is now to do the inner work to elevate yourself beyond courage into that expanded vibration, to therefore allow in what you've been asking for.
Boom. Thank you. And this is a great segue into what I'd love to touch on I came up with a segment called Topics with the Tech. And cool. What I really want this to be is just, I've got a heap of questions. We just riff on it for like 30 seconds or so on each question and give as much value as we can.
Yeah.
Like we've already done an hour pretty much.
Oh my gosh. And I want you to add in more tech stuff too, because I want to hear from you. We're like catching up in this podcast.
Well, this will be perfect to bring it in, because what we'll do, we'll bring both perspectives off these questions. And I feel like this will give a lot of dynamics for people wanting to change their lives this year, because it's coming, like we've both been able to create self-success. Now, it's subjective. For me, success it used to be freedom. But freedom, I've learned recently, was actually a deep-seated shadow that was playing out. Because it's like this escape from responsibility. So I believe that true wealth, success, and impact can't actually live in the same values as freedom.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's my own point of perspective that I've seen for myself. Now, someone else like yourself, I know you love freedom, but it means something so different to you.
Yeah.
You know?
Language is so powerful. And it's like everyone has our own language. So one word could mean one thing to you and then vice versa to another. So it's like in your model of the world, that's what's playing out. And it's just brilliant. I love that.
Take that as the first bit of advice from this Topics with the Tech, is that your world might be different to someone else's, and that's okay. Take that an even step further, which is what I've experienced recently, which was something I really struggled with in the past, was getting negative comments on social media. I really struggled with dealing with it. Now I've unconsciously integrated the fact that it is just words.
Yeah.
It's what's triggering it was now gone. So let's put a picture in your head, listener, right now. You've got this bookcase full of books, and every time someone says something or does something, you reach out and grab that book real quick and read what it's meant to mean in that moment. You open to that page going, oh, he said this. Hold on. Oh, yeah, that's right. I meant to feel like this because this is what I was taught when I was younger, or this is the belief I made out of it when it happened last time, whatever. When in reality, you're literally reacting to words, language. They don't mean shit. You've created the story in yourself, and sometimes they're stories that have been created externally, technically, by the traumas and programming and other things. But really, you get to change the story. Those books can all be rewritten. You just need to make the fucking decision.
Yeah, it's like changing your perspective, because it's not necessarily about you. The hateful comments, or if someone projects onto you, like the other day, someone said to me, you don't work hard. And I'm going to put like brackets around that. It was along the lines of that projection. And it was in a way of like, you just get everything handed to you. You don't work hard and you love not working hard.
Who said you have to work hard, by the way?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, of course, there's action steps that must be done physically to manifest physically. That's perfect. But there's a difference between inspired action versus doing for the sake of feeling guilty if you don't. That's where I was at one point.
Yeah.
However, I love taking inspired action, and I will when the time is right and when I hear the call. And so that projection, when I heard it, was like, oh, okay, this isn't actually about me. This is their perception of me from their model of the world. And actually, they're giving me an insight to how they feel about themselves. Because what you see in others is a reflection of you. So if someone's hating on you, they are hating on them.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that, because I've just realized recently I had the same thing where I had two close mates of mine. I actually really loved that they told me this. They both told me that they were envious of me and what I've created lately, because they're in the same space. And one of them was struggling, and the other one, you know, he is, I believe, potentially a better coach than me and has more knowledge than me. And he was looking at my success going, how come you have that and I don't?
Whoa.
But he told me that straight up. He's like, I just wanted to share that with you, and this is how it's making me feel. Yeah. I was like, dude, thank you. Like, I would rather that than you just avoid me.
Yeah,
and start
attack you
hating on me.
psychically.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Right. And, or just talk shit behind my back, you know, like, thank you for sharing that front up. Then I can also help him because he's told me about the trigger and said, all right, bro, well, this is what I've done. This is what I've, you know, use this. He's like, cool, thank you. And then he becomes better. He doesn't wallow in his shit. So that was really cool. But it came across in a completely different way than it has in the past from other people as well. Yeah. Right. So I can see where yours would have come from too. So with these questions, I think there's about, Jesus, probably too many. But
let's go.
I'll just pick out whatever one seems
First
right.
answer is the best answer.
And yeah, just spit out, you know, some words, and I'll do it as well. And we'll just try to give the listener as much as we can for them to have the most epic 2024 that they can.
Okay.
So what are some significant lessons or insights you've gained in the previous year that have really changed how you are and how you show up?
Well, I mean, I summarized that all in my last episode with the 23 lessons.
Perfect. So you can listen to that.
Yeah. No risk, no magic. You got to be sold on yourself if anyone wants to be sold on you.
Oh, love that one. Mine would be stop giving your power to everyone. So what I've learned in the last 24 months especially, but specifically in the last 6 months, I was giving so much to everyone else thinking that they had to reciprocate. That's never been the case for me my entire life, is that no one loves like me. No one does. And that's okay.
Because no one's you.
Yeah, no one has to. I had all these expectations internally going, oh, why doesn't such and such share my podcast? Why doesn't such and such do this? It's like, bro, they don't have to. Just because they're your mates, you don't have a fucking contract saying they have to support everything I do. It's like, maybe they don't like the podcast. And now I'm at that point where I'm so okay with it and I have so much love for everyone. That's a way better place to sit in. But to a deeper degree, for anyone listening, I was giving other businesses and other people connections and like ideas and concepts that I'd created for myself. And then some of them actually went and took that. And then I got angry. I'm like, bro, you gave it to them. How can you sit there and bitch about it? They executed on something that you hadn't executed on yet. So that's your own fault. But as soon as I brought all my power back into myself, my business has gone off like crazy. So bring your power back in, still help people, still love people, but maybe just stop trying to people please through actually giving things to people thinking that's what you need to do. Cool. Could you share an example of a challenge or mistake you faced in the last year and what valuable lesson you took from it?
A challenge, I would say, is I was in a manic manifester archetype. So you may resonate with this yourself if you're listening, whereby you know how to manifest, you've done it before, yet you really want something and you're like trying to make it happen. You're like, all right, I'm going to do all the manifestation practices and I'm going to like do my affirmations every day and it's going to happen. Then when it doesn't happen, you're like, why isn't it happening? And you're trying to do. And then if you're not doing, then you feel guilty for not doing, because then you feel lazy, like you're not doing enough. And then you're like, oh, maybe I should do more. And then you burn out. And then you're like, why am I being so lazy? I can't get back into it. And that's kind of how I felt. I am a generator in my human design, so I love to do stuff. Like I get energy from following through on the promises I set to myself. The thing is with that is I was trying to create from this scarcity place. So I was being met with a lot of resistance. I was trying to prove myself. I didn't think that I knew enough or was good enough. So I was regurgitating messages from mentors and people that I pedestal and look up to and forgetting my own message as I was sharing that. And okay, this is funny. I don't know why I feel called to tell you guys, but here we go. Straight under the bus. We love it. I was trying to prove myself to a lot of people this year that I am a great coach and that they should work with me. And then these people were trying to prove to me that they would be a really great partner. And I was like, you'd be a really good client. And they're like, you'd be a really good girlfriend. And I was like, why? They just not listening to me. And they're probably thinking, you're not listening to me. And I was like, great, perfect mirror of trying to prove yourself. As soon as I realized that I'm enough and that my magic is who I am, and the people that do not recognize that are not ready for me, everything changed.
Damn. Thank you for sharing that, because that is vulnerability and transparency. Yeah.
Authenticity.
What actually happened?
Yeah.
Because people take so much from that. Because I think one of the most important things I've learned is that people really want to know that we're just like them.
Yeah.
And we are.
We are. If you were not like us, you would not be here right now.
Exactly.
Mirrors.
It's very similar to you, realizing that I am enough, because I constantly, still to this day, question myself and whether I'm a good guide. I call myself now. Coach, if you want to label it. But I still think, fuck, what can I do for my client this week? What process can I bring in? What new thing can I create? It's like, dude, just conversations with you is enough. That's something. And it's funny, right? Because I have an epic client, shout out to him. He tells me straight up things. Like, he's very frank, which is awesome. Very successful man. And he just said, hey, mate, I got to be frank. Like, I actually prefer when we just have sessions where we just talk. I get way more from that.
Yeah.
Rather than you trying to do all these processes and, you know, learnings and modules and putting presentations up and all these things, which I still want to do because people love that too.
Yeah.
But I was very self-reflective on this particular client because he is very successful with business and things. So I was like, am I good enough to be coaching this guy?
Whoa.
And then I call in another client exactly like him after, you know, so it's knowing that, yeah, exactly what Lee said, you are enough. It's just getting to that unconscious belief of that too.
Yeah.
What's some of the shadows that have come up for you recently that have really helped by integrating those? How have they helped you in some way? If there's one or two, or if there's none, that's awesome too.
Maybe you go first with this so then I can, as you speak, I'm sure something will come through.
Cool. So one of mine recently was embracing the monster. So in the last few months, like I thought I had really embraced that part of me, the dark masculine. But in the last few months, it was at the second last retreat we were at, I think, which was, I think it's 6 months ago, actually. Really embracing this dark version of me that actually loves violence. Because that violence would come out in the football field, right?
Yeah.
And when I was reactive.
Yeah, I've seen you at a couple events and like that primal roar. I'm like, Trav.
Yeah, so that is me.
Yeah.
I always tried to say, no, I'm not. But
Aztec warrior, bro.
yeah. Well, there's this huge part of me that is a protector and a guardian. Like I will literally, if I ever felt like my fiance especially was in danger of some sort or someone said something about it, I'm going to rip someone in half. And every man has that in them.
Yeah, of course.
Every man, all these blokes, I'll have clients or people at the retreats and workshops go, no, I'm not an angry person. You are an angry motherfucker. I know you are.
Anger is not a bad thing. It's just emotion.
Yeah. Turn it into passion. It's one of the most powerful things ever, you know? So, and integrated and controlled anger is that masculine drive to get shit done. So a lot of men probably feel like they don't have purpose. They don't want to get up out of bed. You know, depression's one of the biggest things for men still, because we're not teaching them the right things, I don't believe. We talk about it. We talk about what's going on, but we're not sharing the right information, I feel. Because a lot of men feel like they need to find their purpose. I feel purpose is built. It is something that you find going on the hero's journey. You know, for me, I just knew I liked helping people. I didn't know eventually 10 years down the track it'd be through coaching, but I just started in fucking rebel sport, you know?
Yeah, we love that. And I think like you can never connect the dots forward, only backwards. And I don't know about you, Trav, but the more I speak about this with people, the more they go, yeah, I've experienced that too, where the more I elevate, the less I really know what's ahead for me. I have those specific chapters and visions of what I'm going to achieve and do and the general direction. However, the in-between bits, I can't see anymore. I'm not living that comfort zone Groundhog Day life anymore as a PT where I knew what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I could see every single day because every single day was the same and I stayed the same. However, because I've changed my timeline so much because of my experience elevating vibrationally, therefore I'm experiencing a higher timeline. I'm experiencing the same soul lessons from a different higher perspective. It gets to be more fun. It gets to be more fast. And it gets to be in the unknown because that's where the magic happens.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people find safety in repetitiveness because there's control in that. Because if you're doing things that you don't know what's going to happen the next day, scary.
Right.
Have your views on relationships, both with oneself and others, evolved?
100%. This year, being away from Australia has really initiated me into finding home within myself. I have spent so much time with me. Like I thought I was like already pretty good at that. However, this just took me to a whole new level. So I would say I have experienced this just entirely up-leveled love for self. And I'm so proud of that. And then relating with others, 100%, I think like the deeper you expand your awareness, the more you learn about unconditional love and also the importance of communication, to also see people where they're at and respect their model of the world as well. Because everyone that I come across, especially in London, they're either going to be really open to what I have to teach and say, which I've found has been majority of people. Like a lot of people are drawn to my energy, and there also have been skeptical people that I have come across, and that's okay. I love them because they're just helping me communicate my message in a different way that can then resonate with them. It's like, how can you drink with a bikie and also meditate with a monk and have that flexibility of behavior?
I like that. That's cool. And I guess for me in the relationship aspect of, obviously committing to my fiance and early in the year, which was cool. But what that did for me was that I was always someone who struggled with commitment. I was always someone who flirted with the idea of like, what else is there? What more is there? And that also crept into my career and what I was doing with this shiny object syndrome. So I know a lot of people can really go through that, but one of the most masculine, manly things you can do is commit, not just to someone else, but to self. Because once you commit to self, that's in everything. Even with my health recently, like I'm addicted to going to the gym, not because of how it makes me look, but how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
on a level of just, I heard a recent saying, which is one of the coolest ones I've heard of 2023, was the highest form of self-love is discipline.
Yes.
That was cool. But
I
that
was
dude in
gonna
the
say
ice
that before.
bath. Yeah. Like just hearing that, I was like, damn, everyone talks about self-love, like doing this. It's like, well, fuck, how much do you love yourself that you're going to be disciplined enough to do the things you need to do? Like health should be number one value for everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know why for me, I always, well, we do now from earlier, but now it's like health 100% because I've been on my deathbed a couple of times in the last 24 months from the level ups I've experienced. But like the appendicitis and then COVID nearly got me good.
Wow.
To the point of like my bones were on fire that I'd have to have showers every 20 minutes to sleep. Like, it was fucked.
Whoa.
So there were these moments in my life where I go, wow, all I want to be is healthy right now. I didn't give a fuck about anything else, like how much money I had, the success and all this other bullshit. It was just, I want to be able to get up out of bed and walk to get a drink right now. I couldn't even do that. So yeah, for anyone, 2024, let's go and put health as number one as your value. I know we talk about values are hard to shift because it's something that is programmed into us at a younger age. But when you start doing this work, I believe you can shift that 100%.
Yeah, it's like what Joe Dispenza says, is breaking the habit of being yourself.
Yeah. Rewire you.
It's like the game Fruit Ninja, right? Like when the fruit pops up and you've got to like swipe all the fruit and make sure they don't drop and get past your swipes. Same with your thoughts. As soon as a thought comes up, if it's not serving you and in alignment with your higher self, time to swipe it. Goodbye. See you later. Like we don't want that fruit to go by being missed without observation because your thoughts create your reality.
I love that. What's your take on balancing ambition and contentment in life? So we are two people with a lot of ambition, and people, for myself, I'll answer first, as they probably think Trav's always doing. It's like, bro, last 2 days I've done fucking nothing. I balance my life in the way of, again, that word balance for me doesn't sit right. It's just, what's my priorities? I prefer priorities. So my priorities in the last week or so has been rest, because my whole year was just chaos. It was full on in a beautiful way. So for yourself, how do you feel about, are you constantly on the look for, what's next and how can I learn to be better? And like, is that an everyday thing for you?
What I love about this question is it dropped in for me this year that in London, it's very fast paced. Everyone's focusing on what's next. And that is also perfect because it was a reflection of where I was at in my life. Like we live in a society that is generally like that. However, in London, I found it was enhanced, like triple speed. Like I feel like I've lived 6 years in 6 months. It's wild. And at the same time, what I realized is that I was getting so focused on what's next that I was forgetting to be present in my now. And in your now, that is where the opportunities are that will bring you to what's next.
I love that answer. That's cool.
So that whole experience taught me the more content you are, the more you will achieve those ambitions and those goals that you do have.
Perfect. How can embracing vulnerability lead to profound changes?
Well, Brené Brown says that vulnerability is the greatest act of courage. So if we're talking about manifestation and frequency and things like that, like I said earlier, courage is that bridge between contraction and expansion. So if you're wanting to have a year of expansion, then allow yourself to be vulnerable. And that might not necessarily be sitting down and talking about your feelings with your friends and family. That might resonate with you and it might not. It could just be like getting vulnerable with yourself, meditating, journaling about your deepest fears, your thoughts, what you want to achieve, getting clear about your goals and your visions without limiting that, being limitless in your dreaming, allowing yourself to dream. It could be dressing the way that you want to dress. It could be going to places and exploring things that you've never explored before, or maybe potentially being too shy or scared to. Following through in that promise that you've set for yourself or you keep putting off. Like vulnerability doesn't have to be speaking necessarily, but it could just be like being, stepping into that courage.
Perfect. I love that. Vulnerability for anyone listening, especially women that have husbands, brothers, boyfriends, whatever. Knowing the men's work I do and being a man myself and having gone through depression, suicide, all that sort of stuff, vulnerability can be tough for men because it's been weaponized and used against us in the past. So what you need to be careful of, I believe, especially if you're wanting your man to be more open and talk about his stuff, just know that he doesn't want you to see him fall off his white horse. So that's why a lot of men will just suck it up, do the whole like, I'm fine, I'm
Go
good.
in their cave.
Yeah, hide away and try to deal with it themselves. But that's what's, also leading to the issues we're having. So I would suggest, rather than trying to pull it out of them, guide them to the right spot, show them what's possible. So especially at our Heart-Led Warriors men's work stuff, that we've got a free Facebook group called Heart-Led Men. Literally in there's men just sharing their shit. Because even though that you might not know the men in there, it's a safe space. It is. It really is. And I understand that some men aren't at that level yet. I have my tech talks I do, which do really well because people trust me because I trust myself. So I can give off that vibration and that energy for that. But finding someone you can truly just have a share with every now and then, it's so important. Journaling's really important, I believe, for a lot of people because, again, safe space. But just having someone or something, and going off the back of Brene Brown, shame loves secrecy. So the more that the shame is fed the secrecy, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And shame usually is something that, and, anything you feel guilty around, that will eat you alive, especially men. Most men that are really struggling operate from a frequency of shame and guilt because of things they've done in the past. Now, I'll speak in one topic that I strongly believe in is this whole, like, people believe that, once a cheater, always a cheater, or someone that's stolen before, they're always going to be a scumbag that steals. It's like, well, I believe it's a moment in time, especially with cheating being so prevalent. A lot of the time it takes two people. There's not needs being met. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen because it happens, but there's so much more to these things that happen, like kids that steal at the moment. Maybe they're getting no love whatsoever at home and their parents don't give a fuck about them. It's having that curiosity to the actual thing and the outcome. You know what I mean? So it's knowing that there's so much more to just the vulnerability aspect in itself. But then we go deeper into the shame, the guilt, and knowing what men are killing themselves over is that we're being perceived to be the same person no matter what. People are saying, oh, you did this when you're 18. You're still that thing. Well, no, I'm 33 years old now and not the same person.
Yeah, like I feel, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Trav, but if you make a mistake, you just want to feel loved and appreciated still.
Yeah.
To know that you're loved unconditionally. You're going to feel safe. Like, okay, if you make a mistake, like you're going to feel guilty and bad enough as it is. So if you're being met with someone who still loves and appreciates you and supports you in that, then you're going to want to be better for yourself and for them.
Correct. And if you believe that they truly believe that's possible for you, that's all they need. That's all any man needs specifically, and women, right? Because I work with women too, but it's like anyone has a possibility for change. Anyone. I've seen it. I literally see it daily. So knowing that if there's something that what we've learned from being vulnerable in ourselves, like you said, it's the act of vulnerability, not so just the speaking. For myself, I've been vulnerable on socials. I've had blokes call me out and say, oh, a leader doesn't cry and this. It's like, well, that's also your story, bro. But I wonder how much you're hurting. How deep are your wounds and your beliefs that you feel like you can't even speak about what you're going through? You have to put it on me, So yeah, there's a lot in that. Speaking of, how do you handle criticism and negative feedback these days?
I mean, I'm human. Like, of course, if someone says something to me that is criticizing or negative, like obviously I'm going to take it to heart. Like I'm a very heart person. And at the same time, hurt people, right? Your language shares everything about you. People think that you can hide your secrets. However, like the words that you choose to describe things shares everything. So what they are saying about me or to me, I'm pretty lucky, or blessed that I have a lot of supportive people and I choose to focus on that. Like I have a really amazing network. However, if I do cop something like that, it's always just to remember that that is a reflection on that person themselves and what they're experiencing at that time. And I wanted to add, I've seen a couple of your comments on your page and you've replied in a way where it's like, explaining to that person that it's their problem, not your problem. And I just love it. Every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, Trav, you got this. Like, it's the best.
It's funny because the first thing that popped up as I was getting ready to answer after you said that so perfectly was, I will meet with love most people, and I'll understand because like our TikToks for Heartly Warriors went off.
Oh, yeah.
So you can imagine the comments that were in there, like, who are these pieces of shit? Why are you crying, you faggots? Like all these things.
Whoa.
And we were just like, to get the conversation still going, you want to interact. So be like, hey, brother, I hope everything's okay. And genuinely meaning it, like literally, hey, bro, I hope everything's okay at home.
Yeah.
Or just like, I remember one guy said, what's wrong with these fucking weak CUNTs these days, you know, these men. And that pissed me off. So I actually said, we're the ones actually standing up and sorting out the shit you fuckwits put onto us. So I met him with his energy and he didn't respond, right? So this is where I want to say I'll meet most people with love these days. And though I will also happily, metaphysically and physically punch someone's fucking skull in. Right? So I have
to mess with you.
The tendency for violence. I've embraced the fact that I will hurt someone if I need to protect not only myself, but the people I love.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. And it's not necessarily like hurting. It's just you are setting a clear boundary.
Some people only understand violence, Lise. This is the thing. Humans, I've learned this from watching the fucking Walking Dead lately, is that I will meet with love with most people, but some people don't even know what love is. They only know violence to be love.
Yeah.
So in the language that they have only spoken for most of their life, if I challenge them at that level and they weren't expecting that, that will then potentially a lot of the time shut them down, or it might antagonize them more, which I'm not looking for. If it gets to that point, I'm like, okay, bro. Look.
Well, yeah, it's like if someone with a conscious level of 3, which is the anger and drawing the sword, right? If they draw the sword at you, just meet them with a level 4 and be like, look, well, you might benefit from our coaching because this is what you're telling me through your language right now.
Yeah. And the only way I learned that this to be true is that we know someone mutually that the only language they know is level 3. And I met him with 4, 5, and 6. Ooh. And it wasn't working. So I was like, all right, 3 for you, motherfucker. And that worked.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
so
you and 3 would be terrifying. So
it's been a leaky reactive energy in the past, but now because it is something that I never usually bring out because I understand what I can do.
In rhythm. That's what your hat says.
Yeah. That feels right. That feels right. So these days it's like, I know that to be able to truly step into my power, it was, as I said before, embracing the monster. All that's turned into is this more dominant leader energy that men will follow me more, which is great. You know, that's all I want. I want them to be able to perceive me as a powerful man that they respect. So then they might go, oh, well, he seems like a good dude I could follow. So I need to be that person. I can't be the wishy-washy, oh, it's okay, it's fine. You know, I have that part of me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't working for what I needed to get across to the men. You know, so the women love it. You know, my light masculine, my light femme, I can divinely sort of go through those two and they work really well with my female clients. But they also then need the dark masculine sometimes too. Tell them, hey, you need to stop fucking around.
Yes.
So it's great. One thing I'd love to finish off with, Lise, is just a couple of celebrations for yourself in something you've achieved in the last 12 months or so that you'd really love to share with people, because I love celebrating people. I love gassing people up. Cool. And then maybe if you would like to share a couple of things you've got ready for this year, some goals or, you know, along those lines.
Cool. I love this question, Trav. So I think for me this year, I would say celebrating moving to London and really trusting myself to take that leap into committing fully to what I'm here to create and do. Then also getting opportunities in professional sporting leagues and things like that have been quite incredible. And the people that I've met, the experiences that I've had, like when I write a book or have a movie about me one day, it's going to be pretty interesting. That's for sure. That's for sure. So I'm just incredibly proud of myself, the way that I've shown up within the highs and the lows and just come out of it all a better person. And I wrote in my journal the other day, in the past, my higher self felt so far away. And if this is you right now, like know that you can totally experience what I'm experiencing now, which is I feel like I am her now. Yeah, like I am her, and yeah, obviously I will continue to evolve and grow and expand, but that version of me doesn't feel far away anymore. Like I feel like I'm living it.
Yes. Hell yeah.
So yeah, and in regards to creations, like I showed you a little sneaky peek of what I'm creating earlier.
Exciting times.
Yeah, and I'm going to leave it as just a subtle thing. It's something I've been creating for years without knowing it. And it's everything I know being put together into a piece that is easy to receive for everyone. I am building a generation of elevation. So what that means is it doesn't matter how old you are, what race you are, what gender you are. It is all about who you're choosing to be. If you're choosing to become the highest version of you and to live out your soul mission, which is ultimately just joy, happiness, love, fulfillment, contentment, then you're in the right place. And it's a place where we can create our reality and be around people that are doing the things to become that best version of themselves. And I know how it has helped me being around people that are doing the things that I want to achieve or do, because I've been able to look at them and go, okay, if they can do that, then so can I. And that's the community that I am building. And like I said, Generation Elevation is my life's mission. So the way that that looks will change over time. And it's funny, I just know whatever it is that I'm creating and birthing this year, it will be to do with that. I'm not specifically sure, and I don't need to know right now. Like,
perfect.
I just, yeah, if you want to be a part of the community, I mean, you can listen to my show and follow along the journey. Like, I'm still experiencing the journey, and I just trust that I'll get there when I get there.
Hell yeah. Thank you for sharing. It's exciting.
Now let me celebrate you. Tell me.
Look, for me, it's a quick one of, I found myself. It's like that real deep finding of self though. Like I went through some shit last year and I thought the year before that was tough, but last year was really, really tough because it was the integration of business too. I feel like business is one of the most spiritually enlightening things you'll ever do.
Oh yeah.
And really knowing and stepping into my success finally. I was scared of success. I was scared of what I could actually do. And then there was a moment in the end of last year where the amount of money that I had in my account was the most I'd had in ever. And it was like, I did a month there. There was a month I did in sales that was almost the same amount I made in the 2 years previously.
Holy shit.
So like for that.
Fuck yeah.
And let's sit here and, have anyone perceive it as, oh, what are you talking about money for? It's like, well, that for me is a huge win because I can only build what I'm building with money. I can only make the impact I'm making with money. I don't ever talk about it because I'm here for a reason to do these things because I love doing what I do. But I also want you listening to know it's okay to love money because money's an energy. It is a physical manifestation of numbers for our services we provide in this world. And for you to believe that it's evil in any way, for you to believe that you're not capable of it, please know you are, because I used to think I was not. I used to think that my deep-seated beliefs about money was so bad that whenever I had money in my account, if I saw that, I would spend it so quickly because I was like, oh shit, either that comes with responsibility or that comes with, I don't deserve that.
Yeah, wow.
Everyone does. So yeah, that was a big piece for me because it also showed that I was becoming successful in what I'm chasing. Because most people fail business in the first 12 months, especially first 5 years, right? So I've still got a long way to go. I've still got so much more to do. This year, just more growth factors in, structures and business systems and things like that. But also creating more space for people to be able to work with me. I've only been really doing one-on-one. But Christy and I have got group programs coming.
Cool.
We've got our own retreats and workshops coming as well because we feel like the Sunny Coast has missed out on a lot of the heart-led stuff because it's all Gold Coast based, which is awesome. Like I still love doing my heart-led warrior stuff. It's incredible. We might end up overseas with that this year, which is cool. So still so much to come, but I really want to focus on this year too. What brought me into this game was the podcast.
Yeah.
It's what I'm very good at. It's what you're very good at.
Yeah, 100%.
And I love it so much. Like I've had the best time for the last couple of hours.
You're amazing.
Thank you. So you.
You inspire me.
Yeah, likewise. Like, and this is, someone said this, I can't remember who it was, but they said, oh, Chris Payton, shout out to Chris, one of my best mates. He asked me what true friendship is, and it's mutual inspiration. I really liked that. So if you can find people that are inspired by each other and you love to see them grow and do well, you know, Toddy Jarrett brought up the other week where it was like, a lot of people love you to see you do well, but not better than them. And he's someone who's always backed me. He's always had those moments where he'll see me doing things, he'll pull me up or just share, hey bro, this feels like this isn't you. And I've really enjoyed that about him. So the reason I share that for anyone listening, find the people that will back you as well as vice versa. I truly believe if you don't have people around you that are going to celebrate you genuinely, it's not a nice feeling. You need that. I personally believe, again, I come from before where it's like, not all your friends have to support what you do. And though, it feels fucking good when you have those mates that will back you.
Yeah. And on that as well, Trav, like your energy attracts your energy. So if you have people around you that don't support you, they're just mirroring back to you where you're not supporting yourself. So what would happen if you chose to believe in yourself this year? What would you create? Who would you be? And what would you do?
And who will you inspire? I think a lot of partners try to get their partner, which is usually the women trying to get the men to do the work. And it's like, I literally seen this the other day. It was a physical representation of just letting go. And I've said this a couple of times recently where you hear that old saying of like, you can lead the horse to water, blah, blah, blah. But there's an expansion on it that I can't remember who said it in NLP, but I've never forgotten it. And I've used it quite a few times now where you can lead the horse to water. You can't make it drink, but you can lead it around the lake a few times until it gets thirsty. But only until you stop trying to fucking reef it along and pull its head into the water and drink, he might eventually just see you doing it and follow the same route.
100%.
So just keep walking around the dam. Stop trying to pull the horse along. It'll just watch you and it'll mirror you.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And if not, maybe that's when you have the decision to make of, do you want a horse that's going to come along on the journey or do you want a horse that's going to go the other way? Like it's pretty simple.
Well, it's kind of what we spoke about before. Like it's all about like the more you level up within yourself and embrace your light, the people that are around you will either recognize that magic within you and ask you how, or they'll be skeptical and project. Either way, it's their choice at the end of the day. And knowing that everyone's choices come from their own model of the world. So one of the values of NLP is to respect other people's model of the world. And all you can control is you. So if you just keep showing up as the best version of you and keep following through on the promises that you set to yourself, being disciplined, getting to know yourself through meditation, being the ninja of your mind, like Fruit Ninja, right? All these things, like they will either be inspired by you and want to come, or they will choose not to. And that is totally up to them. But no, the more you elevate, the more you surpass courage and stay in expansion, right? And be happy unconditionally, it is impossible to attract anything bad. Okay. So a lot of people, when they're on this journey, they might have like these amazing experiences and then something bad happens. And it's like, oh, why did I attract that? You know, I've been doing all this work. And actually, hang on. Is this really bad? Or is this helping you get to where you need to be? Is this happening for you?
Beautiful way to finish. Thank you. Thank you for today.
Thank
it was awesome.
you. I love you.
I love you. And I'd love to say to the listener right now, come on this journey with myself and any guests that I get on, my friends, my family, people I work with, just whoever it might be, because together, this new journey I'm on, this new quest I've created, thanks to my beautiful mentor, Kiani, is helping people unplug, rewire, and unleash So you can be a part of that too by sharing this, sending it to friends and family, sharing it on your stories, tagging myself and Elise. It's like the more we get out there, we can be part of this massive movement that we're helping them unplug the limiting beliefs, programming, and things that have been put on us by society, our childhood, our parents, rewiring those beliefs so then you can then create a life you actually want to live so you can be unleashed in that. So it's like the aspect of how about you can unplug and rewire the belief that you don't deserve a good relationship. We can do that together by learning through these podcasts, by listening to people like myself and Elise with our content that we put out there, but also by then you sharing it too, because this only happens with you. Like I think I fell away from the importance of what a community can do together.
Generation elevation.
Yes, right.
That's what it's about.
Like this is it. It's like us coming together. There's no competition when we're on this mission. So knowing that this is going to come out on both of our podcasts is epic.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Because I know the communities we've built have been really beautiful too. So, but we can only grow by you guys helping us grow too. And by us growing, you grow.
Yeah.
And then your friends grow and the people you love grow. So you're actually doing so much more than helping our podcast getting out there. You're actually being a part of the movement to change this entire world. And it only takes a few people, right? Like one person can affect 100,000 people. I'm sure I'm going to get to that point in the next couple of years, and anyone can really do it. It literally starts with a share.
Yeah. Wow. Alan, I'm just so grateful and appreciative that I get to be here on this mic talking to you. Like, it's so beautiful. This moment right here, right now, like, what a coincidence. What a synchronicity. Like, all of the choices that you've ever made in your life has led up to this moment right here where you're listening to this podcast, where we're here speaking. Like, what are the chances? There's a million other podcasts out there. There's a million other people out there, but you are drawn to this one. Everything's always happening for you and for a reason. Everything's always perfect and perfectly timed. So I just want to end it with that, because it's a pleasure to be here with you, Trav, and with the listeners, because like I said, it's all divine.
So go check out Elise Riley and Generation Elevation, and also Travis Cochran, The Technician, or The Technician Podcast, and you will get all the goodness in this, and we can help out wherever we can as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a part of the Generation Elevation community. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to leave a 5-star rating, written review, share, and tag me on Instagram at elise.riley. Until next time, keep loving, keep learning, and keep rising.